Hi, welcome to Elementary and Intermediate Algebra, Chapter 2.5. So in this video, I'll be going over finding the ratio, percentages, and multiplying and dividing real numbers. So finding ratios. Ratios compare two different quantities or in terms of each other, and they're expressed in fraction form or with a colon between the two quantities, such as a over b or a colon b, where b is always equal to 1. Let's say for a certain recipe, I need 8 cups of flour and 2 cups of sugar. To find the ratio between the two, I can divide flour by sugar, or 8 over 2, which when simplified turns into 4 over 1. This means that for every cup of sugar, I need to add 4 cups of flour, and that essentially is what a ratio is. I can also do it the other way, and I can divide sugar by flour, which will turn into 1/4 divided by 1, which means that for every cup of flour, I need 1/4 cup of sugar. It basically means the same thing, however it's easier to divide the bigger number by the smaller number. Comparing ratios. Let's say a 160-pound guy can do 80 push-ups, and a 100-pound girl can do 75 push-ups. Which person is pound for pound stronger? It's tempting to say that the boy is stronger because he can do more push-ups, but the question is asking which person is pound for pound stronger. Because of this, we must find out how much push-ups each person can do per pound they weigh. So when we calculate the boy, we divide how much push-ups he can do by how much pounds he weighs. And it turns out he can do 0.5 or half a push-up per pound he weighs. The girl, on the other hand, can do 75 push-ups per 100 pounds, which turns into 0.75 push-ups per pound. The girl has a higher push-up to pound ratio, therefore the girl is pound for pound stronger than the boy. Percentages. Percentages mean out of 100 or per 100. So a percent is equal to a over 100. Percentages are very similar to fractions, and often means parts of a whole. For example, if a shirt is 50% off, it means that it costs 1/2 of the original price. Or it can be like a ratio, meaning that there's a certain amount per 100. If a girl is 50% female, it means that 1/2 of the school is female, or for every 100 students, 50 are female. To convert a decimal to percentage, multiply it by 100, or simply shift the decimal 2 spaces to the right. To convert a percentage to a decimal, divide by 100, or move the decimal 2 spaces to the left. So write 72% as a decimal. So to convert a percentage to a decimal, we just shift the decimal 2 spaces to the left. So right now the decimal point is, when we write 72, the decimal is right here. That's because it's 72.0. We simply just shift the decimal here, and we get that 72% is also equal to 0.72. When we write 0.06, we do the opposite, and we shift the decimal to the right. So 0.06, the decimal's right here, we shift it here, and we get 6. So 6%. So 72% is equal to 0.72, and 0.06 is equal to 6%. The percentage of a quantity. To find the percentage of a quantity, multiply either the fraction form or the decimal form by the number. So when we calculate 60% of 5, we take the decimal form, or 0.6, and we multiply by 5, and we get 3. Or we can turn into the fraction form, 3 over 5 times 5, and we get 3. So find 10% of 120 and 15% of 200. So to find 10% of 120, let's do it by the fraction form. So 10% is 1 over 10, and we multiply by 120. So this essentially becomes 120 divided by 10, which is just equal to 12. So 10% of 120 is 12. So now we do 15% of 200. So now we multiply 200 by a decimal. Let's do the decimal way. Times 0.15. So 0.15. So 200 times 5 is 1,000. And 200 times 1 is 200. So now we get 3,000. However, this is 0.15, not 15, which means there's 2 decimal spaces. So that means if we move the decimal, we put the decimal right here, and we get that 15% of 20 is just equal to 30. So that's pretty simple to do, actually. It's not that difficult. Yeah. Multiplying real numbers. When we multiply real numbers, we don't really have to worry about the negative signs. So first we just multiply the numbers without the negative signs. For example, when we multiply negative 5 and 6, just multiply 5 and 6 together first. If the total amount of negative signs is odd, the answer is negative. And if the total amount is even, the answer is positive. 5 times 6 is 30, and since there's only one negative sign, the answer will be negative 30. So what's 9 times negative 8? So we first just multiply 9 times 8, and that equals 72. And there's one negative sign, so we put the negative, which means the answer is negative. So first, for the next question, what's negative 8 times negative 6? We know that 8 times 6 is 48, and there are two negative signs, which is even, which means that the answer is going to be positive. The last one, what's 1 times negative 1? 1 times 1 is 1, and there's an odd number of negative signs, so the answer is negative 1. So dividing real numbers is very much the same thing. It's the same idea as multiplication. We divide the numbers first, and we worry about the negative signs later. If there is an odd number of negative signs, the answer is negative. And if there is an even number of negative signs, the answer is positive. So same thing as multiplication. We just divide first, worry about the negative signs later. So 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. How many negative signs are there? There are two negative signs, which is even, which means that the answer is positive. The answer is just positive 5. What's negative 15 divided by 3? 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5 as well, but there is one negative sign, which means the answer is going to be negative. 5 divided by negative 1, 5 divided by 1 is equal to 5. There's one negative sign, which is odd, which means the answer is negative. Writing fractions with negative signs. It's important to recognize how fractions with negative signs in different locations can often be equivalent. For example, negative a over b is equal to a over negative b, and it's also equal to negative a over b. So if you divide them out, you'll find that they are the same, and don't get tricked by a question that places the negative signs in different spots. Simplifying and adding fractions. Simplifying fractions with negative signs is very easy. Remember that the negative signs will cancel out if there's one on both the top and the bottom of the fraction. And if there's only one negative sign, just keep the negative sign and simplify normally. So when we simplify, let's simplify negative 18 over negative 6. So when we simplify this, notice how there's a negative sign on both the top and the bottom. This means that the two negative signs will cancel out, we don't have to worry about them, and this just turns into 3. Negative 20 divided by 5. There's only one negative sign, which means that we keep the negative sign, and then we just simplify normally. So this will just turn into negative 4. We add negative fractions just like if they were a normal fraction. For example, negative 5 over 7 plus 6 over 7 is equal to negative 5 plus 6 over 7, which is equal to 1 over 7. Sorry, typo here. 1 over 7. Now let's add negative 2 over 3 and 1 over 3. So we just add normally. They both have the same denominator, which means we can just add the top. So it's negative 1 plus negative 2 plus negative 1 over 3, which is equal to negative 3 over 3. There's only one negative sign, which means that the answer is just negative 1. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and hope you learned something from this video.